Welcome to another episode of the Club Lorcana podcast. I'm Syed, and with me, as always, is my best friend, Jeremy Bergeroni.
Hi, everybody. Woo, I'm so excited to be at the podcast. We are post DLC Richmond, and I think that for this podcast, we're mostly just going to talk about it.
Yeah, we're going to talk about it. And also with us is Ryan Walker,
Hey,
a
what's up, guys?
friend, a host, everything and more.
And more. Gross, man.
And then we also have Nathan Tripp,
Always glad to be here, folks.
also a friend and co-host.
Very good. Very good intro. Very SNL.
Really?
Yeah, very Ryan Walker.
I was not trying to do that, but
Nailed
it
it.
happened. Okay. All right, let's get started.
All right. So we just had DLC Richmond. How do we want to do it? We can go through each of our individual tournaments. I mean, we could start with you.
I will say there are two sides of the table, right? There's this side, the C, and then Jeremy.
How?
We
First of all, that's not what size of the table are.
I know it's this side.
Oh,
and
because
Jeremy.
I stayed somewhere else.
Exactly. So we saw the tournament from two different perspectives.
True.
Right. And so I mean, all three of us are curious about your perspective of the tournament. So why don't you start us off?
Okay, so the past few DLCs, the accommodations and travel, it was all a little too rich for my blood. We were flying instead of driving. We were staying in Airbnbs where when I got there, I was like, oh, wow, this is really nice. And then I got the bill and I was like, okay, we should have had about 10 more people here, I think. So this time I sort of opted to try to save money, basically. So I got a ride up to Richmond from Alex Hudson, who was not charging me any money at all. He was like, I'm just driving anyway. You can ride with me. We rode up Thursday to Raleigh, North Carolina from Atlanta. We stayed with Franz, aka Traverse Tavern on Twitter, another lounge member. And then he drove us to Richmond, where we stayed at the lounge Airbnb that had about 12 people in it. So getting there free for me, it was obviously not free for them, but that was them being generous. Staying at the Airbnb for Richmond, I'll just say it because we're talking about money and people want to know how much these things cost. It was $120. And the entry fee for the DLC was $75. But at this moment, that's all I'm out. And I make that money back pretty quickly. So we get there, day of, and I show up to join you guys because you guys are running a team trios tournament. And it's just a lot of fun. I mean, I had a fun time getting there. It was very like sort of old school, how we used to do Magic tournaments or whatever. And talking to Alex was fun, getting to know him. He's really into music, all this other stuff like that. But yeah, I liked it. I liked doing it that way. Airports kind of stressed me out. Where's your luggage? Find your stuff. Sit next to people. Be quiet. I didn't like it. I liked doing the road trip.
So what was it like being in our home base when we used to play Pro Magic?
Oh yeah, we went back to Raleigh.
Yeah, Jeremy and I, for those of you guys that don't know, used to live together in Raleigh, North Carolina.
Yeah, we lived in Durham together for a little bit, then we lived in Cary.
Yep.
But basically the whole thing was Raleigh. It was interesting. We went to a really good restaurant that was sort of like a bowl Italian place.
Mm-hmm.
And it just reminded me that like the food in Raleigh is always like, pretty good. I would say that you have really good food options in the Triangle. And we were there in the Triangle. We had great food. And we got to, it was just 3 people who play card games. I got to meet them in the apartment, and then we jammed some games into the night. I sort of like figured out what the deck was finally going to be. Not there, actually. I did that at the Airbnb in the nighttime with like 15 people watching me, by the way. It was literally just like me moving cards around, and everybody was like, oh. And then I was like, what card do I cut? And everyone was like, that Donald Duck 5. And I was like, oh, you guys are right. And I like cut it, and they were totally right. So that was my trip up there. I had fun, and I felt like totally in my Q zone for Saturday. And that's just true. I made a peanut butter and jelly sandwich that they went grocery shopping for. Then I got to the tournament, and then Saturday went awesome. I played blue-green detectives.
Mm-hmm.
My theory on detectives over regular blue-green was I had a better matchup into dogs, and I had a better matchup into blue-green. So really good about dogs and blue-green. The places where you suffered was I had a worse matchup into Blurple by a lot. They're a lot better into Blurple. Cinderella's a pretty good card into that matchup. That's kind of like basically the end of the discussion on the spread. And when I even talked to Like I was talking to Fungus pretty much the whole time. I don't know if anyone noticed, but in his like winter speech, he was like, I want to thank the lounge. I want to thank my team. I want to thank Jeremy for having good discussions with me. So we were talking a lot and we basically didn't have time to like fully switch sides with one another, but we understood where one another were coming from. And yeah, my Blurple matchup wasn't very good, but his Blurple matchup was really good. My dogs matchup was pretty good. And in fact, I beat it the first 2 times I played it in day one. I didn't beat it in day 2, but we'll like get to that later. So my tournament goes really well. I did a report on Twitter already, but basically I was 4-0, defeating things like Purple Steel. I played Purple Steel round 1 and round 3. I defeated dogs. And then I played Blurple in round 5 on camera out next to you. We both lost round 5. Then we were able to win out for the rest of the day. And I felt like my deck was doing really well. It was performing exactly the way I wanted to. And I had a really good dogs matchup, which was good because I ended up playing it 3 times in the tournament.
Mhm.
And that was my day 1. And then, I went back to the lounge Airbnb. I kind of just went to sleep. It was like after we like had a meal together. In retrospect, I think I could have played some more games or like tried to stay in it a little more between day 1 and day 2. I showed up day 2 and I played a match against Red Purple where my deck kind of didn't do anything. It wasn't like, coming together both on the mulligans. I might have been a little scatterbrained on the mulligans and just sort of like in the mid game. Definitely an argument for like, the Cinderella package should sort of tie everything together because I kept like having like I have 7-cost Clarabelle and Basil, and it's just not gelling the way that the deck does when it does really well. So I lost that one, and then I lost the dogs in a matchup where I think I played pretty scared. At that point, I kind of tilted off, and then I ran into Blurple, which was already my worst matchup, and I basically I don't know if I played at all. I can't remember that match even a little bit. 0-3, day 2, disappointing, devastation, sucked. But you're there with all your friends, whatever. I sat down for my last match. My opponent didn't even show up. And then I just sort of got involved in like, let's support Zan mode. So I went to you, figured out what you needed, helped you out with, we had just got an uncut sheet. Congratulations, everybody. I took it back to the hotel room, which is classic supportive friend thing to do. And then I just had the rest of my afternoon. But yeah, so that was like kind of my tournament report. Started out really high. I really feel like I let something slip between day 1 and day 2 in terms of maybe it was the accommodations. Maybe it was I didn't have a good breakfast. I used to have a tournament on the SCG tour or a rule for tournaments on the SCG tour. You remember it. You
Mhm.
got to do eggs on a tournament day.
Sure. Yeah.
And I mean, remember, I used to always be like, I got to have eggs.
Did you do eggs on Saturday?
I did do eggs Saturday. I didn't do eggs Sunday.
Okay. Yeah. I remember after the tournament, we were both 7-1, and I was like, Jeremy, you should come stay with us. We're right next to the site. We're literally our hotel is actually connected to the site. I'm like, and then we can do the morning stuff together.
Yeah, that's not actually what you said. You said, I wish you could stay with us.
That's not what I said. I 100% said, hey, just sleep on our floor.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
he could have fit between us. Would have been a nice buffer.
Yeah, we had a
You
king
could sleep
size
with
bed.
me and Earl. There was a big couch.
Yeah, I 100% said that. We were walking to Mama J's, and you were like in distraught that I was gonna lead you to the wrong place, and so we got to Mama J's.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we got to Mama J's, and they have 2 portions of like the restaurant. There's a market portion. They have like a market, and then which was closed obviously because it was nighttime. And then if you walk past the market, there's a restaurant portion. And so we got to the market, and he's like, "I knew you were gonna take me to like the wrong place." And I was like, what's going on? I'm like telling my friend, hey dude, stay with us. I'm not gonna charge you. And obviously I'm directing us to the restaurant. I don't know, sometimes I feel like you just want to hear what you want to hear.
Yeah, man, I was losing my mind. I didn't hear we're not going to charge you. I didn't hear come stay with us. I heard I wish you could come stay with us. And I was like, yeah, me too.
Yeah. You heard.
But
completely different
apples to
thing.
apples or whatever, just saying nothing. Yeah, I mean, I really feel like that's where I kind of let it all go. It's a little disappointing too because I was kind of repping the deck at that point. Like Pandemonium had already tweeted like, Jeremy, you got the banner, take it home for us or whatever. And I
Yeah.
feel like I could have got there. I think I misplayed against my dog's opponent. And for what it's worth, since my matchup against Green Blue was so good, would have loved to encounter one of those guys that ended up doing in the finals in the elimination rounds.
I do want to say to wrap up the Mama J's experience. So we're having dinner after day 1.
Yeah.
And like I'm finishing up dinner, like paying my check, and you kind of did an Irish exit.
Not really. I announced I was calling an Uber.
Yes, but you left without saying bye. That's what an Irish exit is.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, so basically, I was like, okay, I'm gonna like, I was like, dude, do you have to go? Come with us for ice cream, blah blah blah. By the way, there's an ice cream place that we went to 3
That
times
ice
in a
cream
row.
place, all 3 nights was delicious.
It was probably the magical sauce I needed to make top cut. I was trying to get you there.
Yeah. Well, something happened between day 1 and day 2, and none of us know what it is or whose fault it was, but I just wasn't as in it for day 2, I guess. I just didn't feel as sharp and quick. I really felt like I was playing incredibly day 1.
Yeah.
I even like stole a match against Blurple, basically just getting in the guy's head. And he admitted it. He was like, yeah, I just felt like I didn't have any time to think. And, he was playing really fast and I beat him. And at the end, he was like, yeah, you got me. You got me on this one.
Nice.
And Fungus was watching that one. He was like, you should not have won that. And I was like, that's called get in their head, baby.
Nice.
Good guy. All my opponents were lovely, by the way.
Mhm.
I just got to say, everybody I played in the DLC was great.
Awesome.
That is pretty awesome. Oh, one of my opponents, we were shuffling up. We were getting ready to play. And he was a really nice guy. His name's Ayad. And he was like, yeah, I can tell you play a lot of TCGs. I was like, yeah, I've played a ton of TCGs. He's like, this is my first one, and I just like to keep things simple. And I was like, nice. And in my head, I was like, he's playing dogs, and I'm mulligan hard for dogs, and he was on dogs. And I was like, that's classic Syed technique of, hey, man, where are you from? And they're like, Texas. And you're like, he's on burn. Classic. It's just classic.
Yeah.
So a little disappointed in how my tournament came out, mostly because, all the Judy Hopps believers now have no room to stand on. But happy that Fungus won. He and I were talking a lot, and Fungus, I think one thing that is good about this tournament is I think if everybody had a number over their head, that was how many games they've played of this format. I think the winner was the person with the biggest number.
Yeah, I feel like I played against Fungus on Fight Club like 1,000 times.
Anybody who played on Fight Club is like, yeah, I played Fungus 1,000 times, and Fungus himself will be like, yeah, I did that the whole. So in a way, that's really good. It's aspirational, right? Like 6 months ago, was Fungus this like insane player, on the lines of like Ed Chu, Syed, DKP? No, not really. People didn't know who he was, but he put the work in. He got his grind on, and then when he got to the spot, he took advantage of it. He got a little bit lucky in some good spots, but also he knew what to look for. He knew what to do, and it comes from those reps. So I think one really good takeaway from the tournament is like, you can like practice and get good at Lorcana. Another interesting one is I talked to Tiago a lot during the tournament. He didn't make day 2, but he said this is the least preparation I've ever done for a tournament.
Yeah, he started off 5-0 and then lost the last 3.
5-0, lost the last 3.
Which is tough, but I think that he's a young up and coming player, and I think that he had a string of like amazing results, and then you're gonna see the backside of it. You can't just win forever.
Well, he let the prep slip, and he admitted that he let the prep slip.
Yep.
Also, hi, Tiago's dad. I heard Tiago's dad listens to our podcast every week.
Oh,
hi, Tiago's dad.
I would love to meet him. I've only seen Tiago.
I've only seen
Yeah.
Tiago. Right.
He said Jeremy's his favorite Lorcana player.
Oh, that's a good one.
It should be Tiago, I think.
It's basically the opposite of Tiago.
Yeah, well, Tiago and I get along really well.
Yeah, but in terms of preparation,
No, not for a little while. For a little while, we were neck and neck, actually.
it was a long time ago.
Well, that was one set ago. So let's all relax. That was one set ago. But yeah, talk about preparation. Holidays got in the way. My new job and, my girlfriend all were pulls away from Lorcana. And I think it showed, like not knowing how to mulligan or what to do against Blurple was a huge Achilles heel for me this tournament. I lost to it twice and beat it one time, but I only beat it on like some like basically Bush League level mind games. And the mind games were getting a little aggro when they asked cards in hand and like trying to keep the pace of play really fast so that my opponent thought they had to play really fast.
I would not advise anybody be aggro and they ask how many cards they have in hand.
Why?
That is information that you are supposed to be able to obtain easily and without any friction. I don't think it's a good one.
All right. Well,
That's how I feel. I don't know. No,
I don't feel like I'm shooting an
let
angle.
us know in the comments which one you like better.
Well, people are gonna like people aren't gonna like get aggro when they ask cards in your hand. But here's the thing: I just don't appreciate it when people ask me when they either should know the answer because they already asked earlier in a turn, or
Dude,
it's like
that's a
if I'm just like
little.
holding them right here. It's like,
I
what,
know, I
what,
know.
bro? What are you talking about?
Me and you
These
have
two
debated.
cards?
Me and you have debated this before. It's I think it's a little elitist. We got to be like more chill about it. You know, I just think it is. It's fine. It is what it is. Let's move on.
I'm like not a marionette for somebody to just move around like this. You can't just be like, Jeremy, how many cards are in your hand? And Jeremy, can you do me a favor and stand up and turn around for me?
That's
like,
not what
in the
I'm
middle of my
saying.
turn?
That's not
Do
what
the
I'm
hokey
saying.
pokey.
Yeah, do the hokey pokey for me, Jeremy. You know, that's what it feels like sometimes.
When we're testing, you do the same thing, and I'm like, what? I need to know this information in order to make the most optimal play. And you denying me that information is like, okay, then just leave your hand out so I can just count the cards.
That's my favorite way to do it. I just save so much time, I think. If it's their turn, I'm going to put my 3 here, make it really clear there's 3, and you can ask me one time, I'm going to go 3, and then you should know for the rest of the time.
Now, if they ask you and the cards are laid out,
Yeah.
I'd be mad about that.
Right. People do that to me all the time. Sometimes I'm holding
do
2
that.
cards in my hand like this. And they're like, how many cards in your hand? I'm like, these 2 cards are 2. And then that's it.
Yes, but when they're in your hand, people feel like sometimes there's cards that are hidden.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
of how you can hold them sometimes.
So I get that one. But when they're laid out and it's like 3 cards, that would be messed up if Ryan stacked one of them.
What do you think about the pace of play one? Is that also too much?
No.
I'm playing fast. He's playing fast.
No, pace of play is yeah, that's a huge problem in our game for sure. 100%. There were times where I was like, I'm up a game, and if I don't win this game, it just is a draw. So I felt the urgency of 2-0 like almost all my opponents. And I felt like it was probably due to the shock of them either playing against me or playing against Monstro Combo for the first time.
Sure.
So the combination of both is like, okay, I got to play slower. And I'm like, you're not allowed to do that. So, yeah.
Anyway, I guess I'll just wrap up my tournament with like big congrats to Fungus. I think that's a guy who earned a tournament win.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
Fungus, great job.
Great job,
Yeah, it was
Funk. I think
awesome.
you did an awesome job.
Yeah.
And I'm happy that you got that tournament win, and I think you deserve it. And yeah, that was my tournament.
On the other hand, Guy, also great job, but I would rewatch the final one. But he probably already knows.
Yep. That's great. That's great. All right. So that's me. What did you guys end up doing?
You want to start off?
Yeah, sure. I'll go next. I will echo Jeremy's sentiment of holidays really distracting, and I'm not sure I like the tournament timing right after the holiday. Doing a lot of travel, and then you got to buckle down. It's tough. Maybe I just need to get better. But yeah, I loved Richmond. I thought it was a really fun tournament. Definitely ready to go back to Richmond whenever they have another DLC there. As far as tournament, wasn't my best result. I was between 2 or 3 decks that week prior. I was on green blue for a while. Yellow purple was still in consideration, and I even considered purple steel for a bit. Eventually, I thought purple steel just was too much of a dog to what I thought was going to show up in the blue green space, so I couldn't pick up purple steel. I ended up going with Monstro Combo. I thought it gave me the best chance to stay 2 in Top Cup because I thought it was the most powerful deck. I started off in a yellow purple mirror, but I was on combo. They were on no combo. I actually ended up dropping that round. It was a really tight matchup. It went back and forth. He won a game because he won the evasive battle. I won the next game because I won the evasive battle. Game 3, he was a bit ahead of the race. And so I basically stuck a Monstro and gave myself like 7 to 8 draws to find the location piece and didn't end up getting it. And so I ended up losing a tight game 3. Came back and won the next 2 rounds. I 2-0'd Blurple twice in a row, I believe. And then in round 4, took my second loss against Dogs. It was a really tight matchup as well. Guy's named Liam from the UK. Really nice opponent. Yeah, we had really tight games. Lost a tight game 3, and it's tough. That's a tough matchup. Tougher matchup for yellow purple for sure. We have lines to win, but it is really really tough. You can't make mistakes. That brings me to round 5. I look at my round 5 pairing, and it is Mo Shamlin, who was a world's competitor last year. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I was supposed to, round 5 in an elimination match is pretty early to be in an elimination match. I just didn't expect it to be anyone of that caliber. I was like, I'm gonna get a little like off round, you know.
Mhm.
So walking over to that match, I was like, okay, I gotta lock in. I can get eliminated right here pretty easily. You know, don't make any mistakes. Play tight. We had a really fun match. It was back and forth. One problem we had is we looked around and we could not see a clock in that venue for any reason. We had no idea how much time was on the clock. So he wins a longer game one, I would say. It was really back and forth, grinding matchup. I had Demona take out his board. He was on green purple, and so he would Prince Philip combo me to get back in it. And so he wins a good game one. Basically, he won the evasive battle. He got to stick a 4/5 Ursula, that quest for 3, and I'd already used my horseman strikes and didn't get back into evasives. Comes back to me, opposite happens. I win the evasive war, and I get to win a game 2 by just grinding them out. Uh, we were playing at a pretty good pace, I thought, at that point. We both were playing at very similar paces, I would say. And we thought, we're going to game 3, but we're on a good track here. Let's just keep playing at the same pace. Turns out we weren't playing quite fast enough. By the time we actually asked for clock, we had 5 minutes and 55 seconds left on the clock.
A lot of time.
Not a lot of time. So we picked up the pace a bit to try and finish the game. We ended up getting to turns. Turns got a little complicated, I would say. I was ahead on turn 3. I think I was up 12-4 at that point. And basically on my turn 3, I know I'm going to get 3, he's going to get 4. I'm going to get turn 5 to try and close out the game. Look at my hand. I can't present lethal. So I can't put enough lore on the board to, on turn 5, win the game. So I basically start the conversation at that point on turn 3 of I'm going to have to make a play that is not the optimal play to win this game, right? This is me verbalizing it out loud during this match. Because in my head, I'm thinking, I have 3 options here. I can play the game I would normally play to try and show him that I'm really the closest to winning this game. I can play a Monstro route to actually win the game. Problem with that route is the green purple deck actually has more answers to that than you would think. Tap your guy, kill your guy, wrong lever, pull the lever, shenanigans, and Prince Philip combo. But don't love that option. So actually take an option 3, which I thought was play the Monstro combo route to actually give myself a chance to control the outcome of this game, but describe option 1 to him, which is actually the better line, I believe, which is play to board.
Mhm.
And so instead of taking the play to board route to show him I could be as close to 20 as possible, I took the play Monstro to take it out of his hands route. I play Monstro, takes his turn 4. He ends up wrong levering my Monstro back under my deck. So I can't get the combo off. Comes back to me on 5. And I basically describe, hey, this is what I've got. I've got 4 more cards in hand, 5 more cards in hand. I'm up 12-4. I'm not sure what you've got, but I think I'm pretty far ahead here. And then the judge basically cuts us off and is like, what's the result? At that point, I basically do it's up to him. And he says we take a draw. So basically, we're both eliminated from the tournament at that point. I tried to get a little bit more time out of it, basically by telling the judge, like, I haven't passed my turn or anything like that. Like, I haven't asked for concession by any means. I'm definitely not doing that. But I just feel like we need a chance to at least have a conversation right now, so that we don't both just die automatically. I think it was pretty clear that I was, in the 75-80% range to win that game if we had more time. And I think if it was the other way around and I felt like he was 75-80% favored, I would have conceded in that spot. So I'll be honest, I was a little disappointed to not get the concession out of that. And my day was done.
Yeah. All right. So I'm gonna say what I would do in that spot, and then also, Mo is my friend. We played together at Worlds, and we played in the finals of the Sharp Gaming tournament, which was cool, and we've just had moments together. But in this very instance, of course, one thing I would advise is people have watches, and as soon as they announce what time it's starting, you should just look at your clock, and that just gives you so much of an edge. The thing about that is you have to have the capacity to be able to do that. The only way you do that is you become good enough at your deck that you can balance more like things like that. And so Monstro combo is one of those decks that really just eats up at everything. Like the amount of exhaustion I felt during this tournament was a lot. And if I hadn't played it at CCS, I would not have made top cut of this tournament just because it's such a strenuous deck to play correctly all the time because you're trying to balance combo, regular game plan, plus your opponent slow playing, and then yeah, you're just trying to play as quickly and efficiently as possible. So the clock, so I always wear a watch in the tournament. That's really important. In day two, you don't have to wear the watch as much because they are catering so hard to you, and there are more clocks, and there's less people that are blocking them. But I will say when it gets close to top cut, you can't see anything. There's a literal stadium of people around you. Like every it's so like every spot is taken up. Like and you can't see over and it's not like I can just stand up and be like so oftentimes like they're like no
No, I'm not waving right
I'm not
now.
waving, please step away. So in this specific spot, as soon as you knew that there was 5 minutes left, the conversation needed to happen right there
Mm-hmm.
while you're shuffling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you have to just be like, hey, there needs to be a winner here.
This was middle of game 3. We weren't shuffling. If we were shuffling, that would have been a better time to have.
Yes. So when you're shuffling up for game 3, that would have been the best time because you're like, oh, there's 5 minutes left on the clock, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, so there needs to be a winner. That's it. You just keep moving,
Mhm.
moving forward. And then when you get to the end, there will be a winner. And so the best way to determine a winner at that point is like, who's winning on the board state. Obviously, you guys had to make plays that you guys generally wouldn't. I don't necessarily take that into consideration fully, but you are trying to sell your case. And so you can tell a lot from a Lorcana hand, especially if you're like 10 turns in on what direction of the game that you're going. I will say that, I mean, maybe Mo didn't know, it is pretty unfavored for him. So it then comes down to whether or not you can execute the match win because your fair game plan is so favored in the matchup.
Mhm.
So in that specific spot, obviously I would need to look at the board state, but if you were reasonably ahead, I do think that Mo should have conceded, and I think that if Mo was ahead, that you should have conceded. Yeah,
There's a lot of context we don't have, right? We didn't see the match, and like, what if Ryan ate up 75% of the clock? Because one thing that I don't want to do is somebody takes all the time on the clock. We go to turn in game 3, and they're like, "Look, but I'm ahead," and I'm like, "Look, but you
Yeah.
burned this whole clock up."
and I completely agree with that. It's like, but again,
I feel the same way. If
Yeah.
I would have done that, I wouldn't have expected for sure. But we had multiple conversations inside of the games of we're playing at the same pace. We feel good about the pace. It wasn't one of those like, hey, you need to hurry up. That was never said either way, right? So we were at a very similar.
Yeah, I completely Though that all that information, you're 100% right. The other aspect is there are times where you can play for a draw. In this situation, a draw just knocks both of them out.
Right. So playing
Yeah.
for a draw not
Mhm.
likely what anybody's.
Exactly. So I think that there needs to be a winner, and that now, if you need to spite your opponent, that's a whole different conversation. But if you guys are both on good terms and the match seems fair, then someone's got to concede.
I mean, I conceded to Kendall when in a spot where it was like maybe even questionable if I should have, but it was just like, yeah, he's like gonna win this game, and me and Kendall know each other, and I'll concede to Kendall.
Yeah. Oh, do we want to like so for the viewers like understanding in this kind of tournament why would a draw be considered a loss here? Just I think that's worth like
You have
explaining.
to get to a certain point threshold in day 1 to make day 2. And
both of
with
you
two
guys had
losses,
2 losses.
that's the max number of points you can drop, right? So you need to get to 6-2, 18 points. So a loss there is putting you below that threshold. I mean, a draw there is even putting you.
I wish there
below
was
that
a rule
threshold.
that went into effect that was like, okay, now that you guys are both going to get eliminated, it's not possible to draw. Whoever has a higher lore total will win game 3.
Yeah, because it puts it like in a weird spot, right?
People argue that like a double elimination like fine. It might mean that like if that keeps happening, then somebody could like bubble into top 32 with 9-2-1 if like people were double eliminated all day yesterday. So like it takes away from somebody if you guys agree on a winner as opposed to taking the double loss, which some would argue is like the natural conclusion of the match.
In top 32, if I went to time, that's how it would be determined.
I'm mostly playing devil's advocate here. I know that a lot of people feel really strongly about this. I'm a big like just give it to the guy who's about to win. Especially if you're in turn 5 of turns and a draw knocks you both out. To me, it's like such a no-brainer. That'd be like, yeah, you got this, man. But I also feel like a lot of the times I've been like, yeah, so I got this, right? And most of the time people are like, no. So it makes me wonder, like, what am I even doing this for?
Exactly. And so I feel like the reason why we're talking about these cases is like, okay, let's get to a point at which people can assess, hey, this is one of the situations that playing for a draw actually makes no sense.
Yeah.
And once we get the actual uh makes no sense ones out of the way, then we can talk about like, oh, these are actually hard decision ones.
Yeah. I also admittedly haven't talked to Mo about this situation. So I like no idea what he was thinking.
Exactly. I haven't talked to him about it either.
I wonder what Mo was thinking.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't. I don't actually want to get into exactly what he said necessarily, but he didn't. One thing I think, if he was gonna do the draw, if he said, I'm a never concede guy. Okay, you've decided you're a never concede guy. I get it, but that's not what he said to me. He said something else, but that one I can understand a bit. If you've just decided you're no concede guy.
Yeah, there's also like a prisoner's dilemma situation here, right? Like, shouldn't Ryan have, if he acknowledges that a double loss is like horrible and Mo refuses to concede, well, in that case, shouldn't Ryan concede to Mo because then at least there's still a winner out of their 2 matches?
Yeah, but
That's so
that
tough.
feeling in that spot is so difficult. And if I'm going to win the match,
Yeah.
and my opponent goes, no, let's draw,
Right.
and it would take a lot to be like, I'm in a winning position, but I'm gonna just give up the
Right.
match.
I believe that somebody from this match should like continue on in this tournament, and therefore, since you won't like budge on this, I'm going to concede to you.
Yeah.
Problem is, then everybody just says,
Everybody's gonna
everyone's
never
defense.
scoop
If
because
that's
they're
the
like,
prisoner dilemma because they're
yeah.
like, actually, I can't ever scoop here because I lose the equity that you might like acknowledge that that's devastating. That's
Exactly. So I'm gonna say, any person who says that you can never concede it's just bullshit.
Whoa. Oh my
okay.
God. Don't cuss.
Here's another question. Okay, so if in the DLCs, day 1, how it's structured right now, a draw is always technically a double loss, right? If we're
yeah.
talking about like for points, it's always a double loss. Does that mean in round 1 and 2, or when you're like you've got your all wins, it's like you should always try to determine it? Because it is a loss, right? And then it sort of helps you in day 2, but you still have to get you have to get the 6
in round
wins.
1. It's actually not true in round 1. You can 5-0,
503, but you can't make top
get
cut
in.
if you 503.
right? But you can make day 2.
You
One
could make
thing
day 2, yeah.
that's interesting here is in other games where a draw is a double loss, this is pretty figured out. So let's talk about Cookie Run. Because
Why are we talking about that?
because Jasmine in Cookie Run, the tournament before Nationals, they went to time and it was the last turn. And the guy that ended up winning Cookie Run Nationals just looked at her and was like, yeah, you're pretty ahead. I'm going to concede. And to him, it was like not hard. You know what I mean? He just like did it.
Yeah, but there's a
Clap
lot
back,
more.
by the way.
There's
Shout
a
out
lot
Winston.
of more factors. There's basically nothing on the line in that game, and it's just
This is the guy that
It's
won
just different.
Nationals, by the way. So it's a guy that cares about it a lot.
sure. But I'm saying there's nothing on the line, so it's totally different. Let's move
Hold on. Why would there be
Move on.
something
We're
line
moving
change
on.
anything? Why would that change anything?
Yeah.
actually?
This game is irrelevant. Moving on.
Well, hold on. Why do the stakes matter? If
Stakes-
the right thing to do is just give it to the person who's winning ahead in game, why does that change whether there's $1 million or $2 on the line?
Because it's free for that person to do it.
Oh, you're saying that wasn't enough of a test.
Yeah, like a litmus test. It's like
Yeah.
more free to do it, sort of.
It's free. That person would rather gain the equity of being a good person in that moment than $1 million.
Or $1. We're talking
They don't
about
have
the
$1
$1.
million on the line. But if there was $1 million on the line, it's a real tough question.
But in the spot we're describing here, that it's not like opponent has anything to gain by like not giving the win.
Yeah.
Neither player has anything to gain, right? Because they're both about to get knocked out.
I mean, there's one thing.
Do you want to say
Very
it or not?
deep.
What's up?
It's Elo.
Oh, that's funny.
If you care about your
Just-
elo, right, which is a representation of how good you are, a draw is vastly different than
In Elo, we're talking about Lorcana, right? For everybody, if you want to look it up, is an online thing where it aggregates a lot of big
No, it's
tournaments.
true. It's something that went through my mind afterwards for sure.
Yeah, so that could be a reasoning. So I mean, there are so many like holes to this whole situation and breaking it down and reasoning. We're just trying to say, hey, there are some ones that don't make sense. We should eliminate those, and people should be more open to conceding when they're in a losing position. That's it. Not when they like. I do think that people are allowed to play for the draw when it makes sense. Because
100%.
every
Yeah,
situation is different. I think that Lorcana is sometimes people take it so rigidly. Even when people ask me, okay, what is like the right play when this specific situation happened? The chances that specific situation happened and the way it happened exactly the same is pretty much like zero because their ink, the way that they were inking and the way you were inking tells a completely different story. And so the situations are actually not the same. And so I think that people should be flexible in their decision making all the time.
Mhm.
There's no concrete yes or no for every situation. Be open.
Be open and flexible.
Yeah, that's it.
All right. Anything else about your
That's all
tournament?
for me. I mean, I had fun for the rest of the day after I got over that. Watching everybody else do well. Played in the Affinity event for a few rounds the next day. Had a lot of fun meeting different people and playing a little blue steel, just tricking around with items all day. That
Cool.
deck feels absolutely broken, by the way.
That's good.
Queen Robot. Is it Queen Robot?
Yeah.
Robot Queen.
Robot Queen. Incredible card.
Deal 2 damage.
Yeah.
It's interesting because the phrase robot queen could mean like queen of the robots, but in this case, it actually means like a robot version of the queen. Isn't that weird? All right,
Mm,
Nathan, how'd
cool.
your tournament go?
Okay, so everyone was talking about prep.
Mhm.
I actually felt very well prepped. I grinded a decent bit. So I played dogs. I've been playing dogs since set 9. Grinded a good bit then, grinded a good bit on my own this season as well. And we played it on Friday. I went 5-2 games into the mirror because I played the mirror 3 times, but I actually kind of appreciated that in the team trios. It was good practice. That was for my last, like, I guess, 4 games of Lorcana I had played in person. I had played the Dogs Mirror, so it was good to get those reps in because that can always be a tough one. And I think I learned lessons. And um, sorry. Yes, keep going with the story. So my prep actually felt really good, right? I
Mhm.
felt like I was there. I had grinded online enough. First round, pair into red purple. That was not what I wanted to see, but I actually got it. So
Yeah.
Yay.
started the tournament. I started well. Next round, I played into green blue. It was a close, but they were on the Under the Sea version. Close set. The game, I think the defining play in that was they were able to. I had like 6 characters on board. They had I think a John Silver and a Tipo, and they visioned into an Under the Sea,
Mm.
and that put that one away.
They don't want to lose to you. It's really hard to beat. They kind of get to pick with their deck building slots whether or not they lose to dogs. So unlucky they didn't play against Fungus.
Yeah, Fungus.
Super
His
low.
build was not good into dogs, but like I know he beat it once. But I think that the next round I played against green purple. This was a weird one because this was green purple tempo. I was hoping it was going to be the burn deck, which I had beat the previous weekend. Um, they were on Louis. Louis is a really bad card to play into with dogs, but I actually think I should have won the set. And this is where it's like I am at this point X1. I'm 1-1, and I'm on the draw in game 3, and I greedily keep an Under the Sea because I have a Tramp Shift line, and I think he's going to go fast because he had some fast cards in there. And he played Ursulon 2, and then I was able to get to 19 lore. So 1 extra character probably makes me stay in that X1 bracket. And then my 3rd round, I played into Purple Steel, and Purple Steel. I can't remember exactly. He was on the play game one, and it wasn't super close. And then game two, it was like Hook Calhoun, Hook Calhoun. I'm like, how do I deal with this? And so he's a super nice guy. Very quick 2-0 there. So I was really, really disappointed. I feel like I did put in the prep, but we've talked about this before. Is even though I was X1 and I would have had to win a good bit of matches because I was already 1-1, so it'd be 6 in a row to make, or 5 in a row, make day two. That one mistake puts me in a whole different bracket to where now I'm X2. I have to win out. This is not the tournament I'm supposed to be playing because one mistake puts me in a completely different tournament. And so for me, that's kind of like the big thing is I got greedy, I got punished. But I'll say, I think it's like what Ryan said is, and I talked to my wife about it too. I was like, man, this was my worst performance in any DLC. That hurt. That hurts a lot. And I'm like, going outside, like if I had capacity to cry, I would cry. I'm just not a crier at all. So I was really disappointed. But I think the people, the hangs, playing inside events, hanging with people, getting the sheet, watching you guys, cheering you guys on, like that's really what makes these events. Even when you don't get the result, and you're gonna have those tournaments where you 0-3 drop. That's gonna happen. I think finding like the diamond in the rough and people like made the weekend better.
Yeah. I just want to say in Milwaukee, I was playing dogs and I played against Purple Steel in the first 4 rounds. And I started off 1-2. And I remember I came up to you guys and I was like, I'm gonna book my flight home. And if I lose one more, I'm gonna go to the hotel, grab all my stuff, and go straight to the airport and go home. And yes, sometimes it feels awful because you put in so much time and preparation and you create expectations for yourself. In that tournament, I didn't end up losing ever again. I ended up winning 9 in a row.
Which was an incredible streak.
Yeah, which was crazy. And I did play against Purple Steel another time and ended up being 2-2 and then won 8 more and then I bubbled out. So I never got to figure out what the real conclusion of that run would have been when I actually would have lost. I'd like to believe that I would have won it all. But it is what it is. But yeah, it feels terrible. I can totally resonate with that. But um yeah, so I'm gonna get to my tournament.
Yeah,
My
Zan, what
tournament,
happened to you?
I played Monster Combo. I actually played exactly what I played at the set championship. Changed up not a single card. I spent majority of the week testing actually for my friends. I had a pretty stern realization that I felt like the monster deck was really complicated and I was putting people potentially in a tougher situation by being like, hey, you guys should play this deck when I felt like like they weren't being able to play it to its full potential. And so I was like, okay, how can I help Jeremy, Ryan, and Nathan get the best result possible? So my advice to Nathan was, I think you should play dogs because um his like best testing results was with that. And whenever I watch him play the deck, he is making very heads up plays, and I'm like, okay, that's like your best deck. So I really try to personalize the testing. So the other aspect of it was I was like, okay, what can I give to Jeremy and Ryan? Ryan, I was like, oh, I have like a version of Purple Steel that I think would be good, just because I think that you have a lot of good testing with it. I think that you're likely to make most of uh the right decisions, and my version will give you an edge over other Purple Steels, which I think is going to be the most played deck. Then for Jeremy, the thing I worked on was green blue, which is like you could hear us like fighting back and forth about it in the last podcast. Basically, the consensus of what I was like, the overall thing I was trying to say was like, Cinderella is better than Judy. If you want to play green blue, you got to play Cinderella. That was the main point I was trying to make, and I was trying to get you to play that. Like my intentions were like, okay, let's do a more personalized approach. In Magic, it was like if you have the right deck, that just wins you the tournament. But I felt like in this game where the plays are more complicated, like the lines go infinitely deeper, it became more about what deck personally suits you. And so Jeremy was really resonating with green blue, obviously the detective version. So I spent majority of my time testing another green blue Cinderella version. And so yeah, so that was what my majority of my testing was, because I knew that I had the perfect version of Monstro. So now going back to my tournament, I 2-0'd almost every win I had was a 2-0. It was ridiculous. I played against Purple Steel, and I played against Blurple 3 times in a row. I 2-0'd it every single time. Then I played against Diego on feature camera match. I lost to Diego. Diego was playing dogs, and I went 1-2 against him. Very, very close. If you ever get a chance to watch that match, I'm like sitting there. I'm like, I played a Demona. I was like, if I just hit this Greater Luminary, I'm gonna win this match. Obviously, I bricked. And then I just ended up winning out the rest of the day. I ended up playing against Jonathan Williams in the last round of day one, and he was on Purple Steel, and I was on Monster Combo, so it was a little bit of a DCS throwback, and I ended up just winning that 2-0. Move on to the next day. I play against Blue Steel in round one. My opponent is playing very slow. I looked at my opponent. I was like, "Hey, we got to play faster if we're gonna finish. This is a very grindy matchup." Had to call a judge for time extension, whatever. I ended up winning 2-0. Um, uh, After Blue Steel, I played against, I don't remember, Green Blue. I 2-0'd Green Blue. Moving on, I lost. Then now I have back to back win-ins, and the pressure is on. I'm like, oh my god, the amount of people that are watching. I'm like, okay, gotta close this out. I gotta make top cut, and then it's on to the next portion of the tournament. And I get paired against a very good player. Said something very interesting to me, which was, I think we got into a draw situation, and he said that he should have conceded to me, but didn't, and and like forced a draw in that situation. So I didn't remember him, but we ended up playing, and then he was playing Monstro. He was playing Amber Amethyst without the combo.
Right.
And basically, I just had like a lot of looks at. I had Monstro out there, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna draw all these cards, and of course I bricked, and so I ended up losing to the combo-less version. And of course, he thanked me. He's like, "Oh, thank you for making the deck." I'm like, I still have to win one more." And so then the next round happens, and of course, my opponent's like, "I don't want to do even or odd. I would like to do high roll." And I was like, "Judge, please determine this for me." They did the number thing, pick a number, and I was like, "Please write it down on your phone and then show it to us after." I picked the wrong number. They were on the play. They had the most nuttiest green blue hand I've ever seen in game one. Game two, they comboed me with Prince Philip. I have nothing on board. I just like climbed my way out. I was just like, Horseman Strike your Prince Philip, Monstro your Basil and Hades, and just like grinded through that game. And then game three, they didn't really get to play the game. They didn't have ramp on two, and I just completely demolished them. And that was my win, and I was into top cut. Um, Feeling great about top cut. I'm 13th seed. Kind of unlucky in the sense that I got paired against DKP, but I'm feeling good because I have played against Blurple 4 times so far, and I 2-0'd it all 4 times. But I look at his list, and he cannot believe that I am playing the same list that I had played in the set championship. And his reaction was like, "Whoa, you're playing the same exact list?" And in that moment, I was like, "Dang it, he prepped against this."
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he prepped against it, and I was like, "I did not prep against your version of the list." And he was playing like item removal. What's that 3/3 that gets rid of
Wasabi.
Wasabi.
Yeah, he was playing that card. That card actually ended up winning me the game.
In game two,
In
for
game
sure.
two, I was at 19. I was like stumbling, and that one lore mattered all. The lantern didn't matter at all, but the lore definitely helped me a lot. And so, um, yeah, we had three really really close games. Yeah, I mean he played really well. His hands were just super super insane. I really felt like if we ran it back, that I would be able to take it down, but the draws were just overwhelming. The genies were super
Yeah.
problematic. I went like horseman strike your genie, horseman strike your genie, horseman strike your Elsa, and then he was like third genie, fourth genie, and there was no like I never got that breath of fresh air because the hand was just so dominant.
Yeah, I rewatched that game yesterday, and you're not exaggerating. It was three consecutive turns of Horseman, and then he just came out with three more evasives. It
Yeah,
was
in
wild.
BKB fashion, he was like, "You have three horseman strikes, but the reality is his hand is like so loaded that it doesn't matter."
Yes. Six evasives. Pretty good in this horseman
But
strike.
it was a super sick match, and definitely a nail biter. I definitely put out the combo, and I was hoping to steal game one that way, but it just did not work out. Um, yeah, at this point, I still feel like Monster Combo is like the most powerful deck, and I'm really happy about my run. In the moment, I felt really bad just because I felt like, okay, if I can get past DKP, someone who I felt like had prepped against my specific list, um, then I could win that tournament.
Yeah.
The green blue matchup was pretty favored for me.
Mhm.
Mowgli was really dominant against it, and Horseman Strike just allow you to build your board right back up,
It really takes away their clock. They want to do their thing and kind of win in the next 3 turns.
and that doesn't
Yeah,
happen.
and if you horseman strike it and they don't have a bunch of detectives on board to back up that lower clock, then what do they have? You know.
Exactly. So I was like very excited. How is this always about Judy?
Always been about the money.
Always about money.
So I mean, how do you feel though? Proud? Or you're like proud of your accomplishments? You top
Well,
32?
I mean, there's some good moments. I would say I had already accomplished what I accomplished in this tournament by winning CCQ.
Mm-hmm.
By winning the CCS CCQ. So I was already qualified for continentals, but the silver lining was my friend Alphos.
Yeah, you
Mm,
passed
This, yeah,
down
yeah,
to
this was
Alphos.
huge.
Good pass
Yeah.
down.
So
Yeah.
there was 4 pass downs, and Alphos was one of the people that ended up
And
receiving
he
the pass down.
originally thought
He was
wasn't
dejected.
in.
He was dejected, really upset. He lost his winning into top cut to a green purple list, and he was pretty upset afterwards. And I mean, you could see it all over his face. He like didn't even walk all the way over to the standings board. He like wasn't even gonna look. And I
Yeah,
had counted it out. He was in 34th. And I was like, "It's not close. You're in." I told him that, and his entire world changed. He jumped on me.
yeah.
And no, he picked me up. I'm a big guy.
He's
Yeah.
strong.
He's
He's
pretty
a
strong.
very strong guy.
He's a young lad.
Yeah.
He was doing the arm wrestling in Europe. Remember, he was arm
Yeah.
wrestling everybody. He was
Yeah.
winning. a lot.
He's really strong. Yep.
Yeah,
All
he
right.
got-
Okay.
So,
Zan.
like talking about that whole situation, yeah. So I was really happy that Alphos got the invite. What else about that? Oh yeah. So I wanted to, thank Ravensburger. I felt like in this turn and past times, I felt like in this tournament, at the beginning of the tournament, we usually have a player meeting. We didn't have a player meeting, but so a lot of people don't show up for their round one. And so usually there's like 100 people who get buys.
Mm.
So apparently in this one, Nathan, you saw it?
Yeah, they were doing. So I'm sitting at like table 2000 or 1000, all the way at the very end, and at the like judge booth, they're doing all these like repair stuff, and it's like 30 or 40 people or whatever. It's a large group of different people, and so they're doing they were doing the extra work, and then it ended up being that the bubble this time
Mhm.
was only one,
There was one person,
but
at
they
10-2
would,
that
but on
didn't
the
make it.
consolation they did get the pass down as well.
Exactly. So basically, the like those buys were eliminated that weren't being eliminated in Bologna and Milwaukee, which ended up putting less, like artificially creating a situation. The other thing is last time in Milwaukee, they were giving buys out to anybody that the system just randomly gave buys. Even people who were 3-0, they could get a buy. And one of those people's was my teammate. and I was like, this is not good because artificially injecting
Inflating
the
the top of the tournament.
exactly. So that means that the 10 and 2 that got a buy is stronger than the 10 and 2 who didn't get a buy. And so this was like incredible. I didn't hear a single person who got a buy while they were winning the tournament. And so that clearly had a huge effect. And there was only one 30 10 and 2 person who didn't get it, and the pass down ended up fixing that problem. And so I'm like really happy about that. I'm so glad that that number is not growing for people who didn't get invites. I still believe that the people who didn't get invites could get invites. And yeah, um, the other thing that we want to talk about from the last podcast was the metagame breakdown.
Yep. Out of our metagame breakdown, I'll just do some quick spoilers. Nathan was the best of all of us. He's only off by 18%.
I think that it was the Blurple take.
Big
that was, like-
congrats from Nathan.
Mhm.
If you average out all of our numbers, the four of us are exactly correct. We're like on it.
On it.
Yes. So one thing I want to add to all of this is I believe between the podcast and the tournament, a lot of things changed. And I think that one of the things that really allowed things to change was the Friday events. With
Mhm.
I think that the metagame would have been different if Friday events didn't happen. And I really like the Friday events.
Yeah,
I
me
think
too.
That was so fun. I'm so glad they actually did it.
the
go
team
around.
trios was so good.
It
A
was
lot of people were
really
like, I
good.
want a Team Trios DLC.
Yeah, I want a team trios deal.
That would be sick, actually.
Who would we have as our third, Ryan?
We'd have to play for it.
What?
We'd have to play for it.
No,
No, we do sides of the table and then you draft a random person.
Yeah,
Oh,
for sure.
Oh.
yeah.
I think let's get alphas.
No, we get alphas.
What the heck?
Alphas?
Arm wrestle.
Yeah, arm wrestle for alphas. Get in there, Brian.
I'll pick someone else.
Fair enough. Who are you picking?
What am I picking? It was like a good time. I
Yeah,
really like
well,
my.
interesting.
Oh,
Because-
okay, so-
Insane criteria.
Because of the
by
two of
way.
you do need
You-
a good time person.
Yeah,
for
yeah,
sure.
yeah.
What do you mean? Have a great time.
That's
Didn't I
incredible.
have a great
Incredible
time?
take from
I'll pick my
Ryan.
teammate. I'll pick between Lukas Kaupa,
Oh,
Okay.
Lucas.
or if that makes it too unfair, then I would pick Earlmeister
Why would that make it too unfair?
because we're two
like,
worlds competitors.
You're trying to make it as unfair as possible.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
the
yeah.
goal.
We-
of this.
You want the
Oh, okay.
team to win the tournament.
It's you can't put anybody on your side.
Lucas knows how to have a good time. He created this deck that or a game we're playing between rounds.
Yep.
It's called Piles. So if you guys want to know about a game, reach out to Lucas. It's a great little.
He
quick
said he
game.
might make like a.
He might make a
Metafy.
metafy about it.
If he
Yep,
makes
so
a metafy about
heard it
it,
here
then
first.
I'll put it in the description.
We'll
when-
steal the metafy.
yeah,
That'd be
yeah.
fine.
But it's probably not gonna be there when the episode releases. So
No.
yeah, when it comes out, then we'll just start putting it in.
Can
the
you just-
description.
High Gal Lorcana packs. It's the same
Oh,
principle.
you know what? Yeah, it is the same principle, but no. Okay,
The cards have to be really.
yeah,
he
very selective.
really well balanced. The
So-
Sure,
wow.
but could you just
So
pie
what
out
we
magic
will
for
do
the
is we will do
Lorcana?
an episode of it.
Okay.
We'll do an episode of it. You know, we'll play it, and that'll be future.
That's the best way to do it. for
I'll
sure.
get a list from him because it's 144 cards, hand selected by Lucas, and yeah, and we'll play it.
I want to shout out the people that came up to us at the tournament.
Yeah.
My favorite things that people said to me were, I read the Raven Scholar. Two people said they read the Raven Scholar, and one person was like, and I'm hot, active, upset that I read the full first book, and then the second book isn't out yet. Which I think is awesome, by the way. I think if you're anticipating like a book coming out, that's like one of the best things to be doing as like a person alive today.
Yeah, some people are like those Netflix bingers on their content. They're
It's-
like, I want everything out already. Game of Thrones, I'm gonna watch all of it. from
It's
the
good to
beginning.
read and it's good to wait for things. So I think that person's in a great spot where they can grow a lot. So that was one of my favorite things that people said to me. So thanks so much for reading the Raven Scholar, guys. And I'm glad that everyone seemed to really like it. And it's just awesome going to these events and people coming up to you, wanting you to sign stuff and just sharing. For me, I always feel like I'm really just trying to share with them. I say to everybody, I'm like, yeah, I try to make the podcast really good for you guys. So like, I'm glad you like it. And we're going to like keep going. Because in a way, we're going with our community. We're like going to keep going.
Yeah, and stop apologizing. Like people will apologize and they're like, "Oh, sorry," or apologize. I'm like, no, this is like for me. Like I
Yeah.
said, like my tournament weekend, was really disappointing and bad, but like people coming up and like chatting with us, like that's kind of what recovered my weekend is like hanging out with people, playing piles with Lucas, doing different things like that. I feel like it's huge.
Having ice cream 3 times what was what recovered my weekend.
Heck yeah.
And they had good vegan ice cream.
What was the place called again?
Scoops.
Scoops.
Scoops in Richmond. I had goat cheese and fig ice cream. It was great.
Oh.
Wish Mo would have gone to Scoops.
Ooh. Not a great joke. All right, so that's my shout out. Shout out to the people that came up to me. Shout out to Lorcana Villain for drafting me.
Yes.
I ended up.
Shout out to Zbex for drafting me.
Yeah, Zbex came for Magic. They saw the name Syed and they were like, "Oh, I'll pick that
Man.
person." You were first pick for Zbex, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's pretty good choice. So those are my shout outs. Shout out to the fans. Shout out for Villain.
Z Power.
Shout out to JTZ Quest. He played in this one, didn't commentate, but he was just still a figure walking around.
He went 5-3.
He was awesome.
He was right there. 5-3. One more.
Should I do any more shout out? Shout out Tiago for just being a good hang. Tiago and I, it's really funny, our friendship, because we're super different. It's almost like me and Ryan, where it's just like we're all the way, but we like get each other and we have great conversations. And so it's great to meet different kinds of
You
people.
guys can both speak Spanish?
He speaks Portuguese.
Oh, he speaks Portuguese?
Diego no puede.
Él no puede.
You guys both speak Spanish.
We both speak Spanish, but don't tell people that. That's our secret language.
Ah.
That's why our team trios is really good, because I'll be like,
So that means he's going to that means he's coming to Brazil.
nice.
Probably true.
So yeah, shout out. Those are my shout outs. Ryan, any shout outs for anybody that stuck out to you in the tournament?
I like always getting to see the guys from overseas. They're really getting to come to these tournaments, right? So seeing all the UK guys again was good. Yeah, I mean, all of the Austria guys are great.
Rare
all the
Hunters.
rare hunters, really big things were good.
Lorcana Justice, great run. You're one of my best friends. And next time, you were so close. Get there next time.
I think the hangs at the hotel were really good. Shout out to like Earlmeister, Villain, Alphos, always really great hang. Shout out to Kyle and his fiance. They hung out with us in Milwaukee and we ran it back. I was supposed to play piles with them. I went and looked for them because they were playing the Infinity event and I couldn't do that. So we'll have to play maybe at Indianapolis.
Ooh, shout out to Pandemonium, my other detectives homie.
Oh,
Every
yeah.
time you set a goal for that guy and make fun of him, he hits that goal.
I've never made fun of him.
Anyway, so you were like, it actually matters if he hits the top of the ladder going into the grind for Richmond, and he did.
Yeah, none of that was making fun of him. Okay. Okay. I just want to say that the pillars of the detectives both fell, and the ones that were successful were the Cinderella ones, Fungus and Sky.
I think I let the deck down. I don't think it happened the other way around. All right, Dan, who are you shouting out?
Judy Hops.
Nope.
No,
Probably
definitely
not going to
not.
shout out Judy Hops.
Shouting out Cinderella.
Hey, Disney classic.
Anyways, thank you guys for tuning in. We are going to be announcing some really cool stuff coming up really soon, probably within the next 2 or 3 episodes. So make sure you tune in because it's gonna be a really, really sweet announcement. All right. Anyways, we'll see you guys next time.
Bye, everybody.
See you
Bye.
guys.